Good evening, televiewers of Info Television. Thanks for joining us once more on this first edition of your program Game of Thrones on Info Television this very year 2026. Happy New Year, of course. Today we'll be talking about two major programs or topics that are hitting the airwaves in the country, and we are going to talk about President Paul Biya's address to the nation, which of course is a traditional address, and people are asking question, is it actually a rhetoric or a moment for action? Apart from that, we'll be talking also about leadership between amongst the youth of Cameroon, as of course people are asking the questions whether leaders in Cameroon today or youth in Cameroon today are actually in a better position to man position of responsibility throughout the country. Are they still in the process of learning, or are they actually capable of manning a position of responsibility? Of course, this is what we'll be treating in the course of this program, and we have a group of panelists. They are presently well knowledgeable to tackle issues that are troubling, of course, the nation. We commence exactly with Dr. Moise Mbok, who happens to be an intellectual, and he's going to be a part of us. It is his first time to be with us this evening, and I just want to say Happy New Year and welcome to this prestigious program.
Thank you, Phillips. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all the panelists already on the studio. Happy New Year to all the televiewers. Happy New Year to all the team of Info TV. Happy New Year to all Cameroonians, and of course, Happy New Year to all Africans. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to have you on set to edify Cameroonians on the issues that are of greater concern. Of course, with us also have with us Barrister Michael Lekelefak. He's a barrister at law, and it is no news that he's a figure that you know so very well when it concerns this particular program. Good evening, Happy New Year, and welcome once more to this program.
Happy New Year, Mr. Philip. Happy New Year to my co-panelists. It's my pleasure to meet with Doctor for the first time. And Happy New Year to the televiewers of Info TV. It is my honor again it's a pleasure again to be here for us to begin this year with the head of state speech address to the nation, and the other topic which is talking about leadership. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you very much, and thanks also thanks to God Almighty for such an opportunity. Aside or apart from Barrister Lekelefak, we have also a communicator from the SDF party. It's no other person than Chi Jone. Good evening, Happy New Year, and welcome once more to the program, the first ever in 2026.
Good evening, dear brother. Happy New Year to you, to my co-panelists as well. A Happy New Year to our televiewers. To the great family of the Social Democratic Front, I'm wishing you a Happy New Year and extending encouragements for us to stay together, determined to face the challenges that are forthcoming, and of course to take advantage of the opportunities that will be presenting themselves to us to better serve the aspirations of the people. Very rapidly, I want to use this opportunity to call on those that members of armed groups in the northwest and southwest regions, that this new year, as much as I have been calling severally, and of course it's the position of the Social Democratic Front, that political prisoners in relation with the Anglophone crisis be released. I am also calling on separatist armed groups both at home and abroad to make the return of the traditional rulers of the northwest and southwest regions to the northwest, to their regions, a priority. These are our fathers, and it is so disheartening to see them being honored far away from home, to see that a lot of them are out of home because they cannot be there. Let's leave aside political differences and uphold our long-standing custom. As young men, we are supposed to defend our traditional rulers. The head of state said that he places so much hope on community dialogue, and traditional rulers have to play a role in this community dialogue, and they best play that role back in their fondoms. We, the young people, should see to it that we make it an objective. I mean, the armed groups, both at home and abroad, should make it an objective for 2026 to guarantee the safe return of traditional rulers of the Northwest and Southwest regions back to their fondoms.
Thank you very much, Chi Dieudonné, a communicator with the SDF party in Cameroon. That's it. Of course, it is no news that we'll have another panelist who will be joining us in the course of this program. But before we divert to what we do have for you as menu tonight, let's do have this transition, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, of course, this is your darling program, Game of Thrones on M4 television. And of course, today we'll be commencing with the first topic, which is talking about the traditional address of President Paul Biya on the 31st of December 2025. The head of state, President Paul Biya, had to address the nation, and there were key issues that he enlined or came out with. And of course, it is of great importance as Cameroonians all over the national territory are gaining access to this information and are calling or are talking and asking questions. This information or what the president said or the address from the head of state, is it going to be something that's going to be in action, or it is just a mere rhetoric? Of course, I'll commence with you, Dr. Moise Mbok. You are a communicator also, and also you are also a strategist, communication strategist when it concerns politics. I just want to put this into you. You actually witnessed the speech of the head of state, President Paul Biya, and you are somebody who do have an insight when it concerns politics. Do you think that this address to the nation was actually what Cameroonians were expecting, or it was just a formality?
To be fair, the first thing I have to say is that a speech talks to different people. It talks to those who are angry. It talks to those who are happy with head of state, because it talks to two types of Cameroonians: those who want him to be there and those who are not with him in that position. So what he will say, it depends on who listens to what he's saying. But for me, as a politician, the speech by itself is just like other speeches. You know, in Cameroon we know how to put things together, and especially speeches. We know how to talk. We know how to arrange things. We know how to say things that will please people. But we are not in normal time in Cameroon this time around. And I believe the speech, to take it at the first level, is well presented. But the actions after the speech, that's what make the difference. Because what my brother was just saying in his entrance, talking about the Anglophone crisis, this speech said things about it, but it was just up. For me, I believe we are already in this year in a new term in Cameroon.
But, Dr. Moise Mbok, you come to discover that he made mention of course, the post-electoral crisis tension, and it is very obvious that Cameroonians were actually waiting to hear something marvelous, and he had to deliver, appease the heart of Cameroonians, making them to understand that the country will not enter into chaos despite the situation at hand. Don't you think that, of course, was another possibility for him to calm down those who were disgruntled and create a better way for peace, tranquility, prosperity to rest, first of all, in their mind before transferring it into the society?
I think Cameroonians don't need him to talk about it. They must do it by themselves. I was talking about the Anglophone crisis. Today, I believe my people there should not wait for the government to do something. They must do something by themselves. That's why I appreciate what my brother of SDF was saying, because youth must take this thing on them and solve the problem. It's the same thing with Cameroonians. We don't need to burn the country. It's not fair. We don't need to go, you know, up and down and destroy everything to show we are not happy. You know, it's not fair. So, whether he says it or not, the main thing for Cameroonians now is to build their country. And to build the country is with the state or without the state. We must make it clear for Cameroonians to understand that they promise to give work or jobs to youth, but youth people must continue to fight, not waiting to what they will propose to them. If it comes, fine. If it's not coming, they should continue to work, because we are, this time around we cannot afford ourselves to expect everything from the state. It's a mistake. That's why for me, that speech came. Okay, many Cameroonians were already in that mood. No distractions, no confusion. We have to build our country. They were already in that mood. So for him to say it is not a revelation. It's something that was already in Cameroonian minds. Me and you never went to the street to destroy anything. And many Cameroonians are like that. So we are not waiting for speeches now. What we want is action. And clear and proper actions, not just words.
But Dr. Moise, actions, of course, do comes through determination.
Yeah.
And in order to have a determination, you must conceive something as an idea in you, and you must produce a roadmap. And that roadmap, of course, commences with your personality and your thought. Don't you think that with the declarations of President Paul Biya, he made so many points? He talked about national unity, of course. He talked about empowering women, and a 50 billion francs CFA has been set aside for women. We know that President Paul Biya's agenda this year is concentrating on the youth and the women. This, of course, is something that Cameroonians are going to benefit in the course of the day, or in the course of the 7 years mandate. It was not like this in the past years. Doctor?
No, I want to believe that something will change. I really want to believe that something will change. But remember, we had 100 billions available for youth. Where is the money? They spoke about it, I believe, last year. Where is the money? We don't know. So I want to believe that we are entering into a new term. I want to believe. So that's why for me, to take that speech at the first level, I will not. I want to see things coming. I want to appreciate the actions. You're talking about putting a roadmap and so on. Now, the first thing to do is to set those prisoners free, as my brother was saying, not only for Anglophone crisis, but for post-electoral crisis too. You cannot just come and announce things, and almost 30 days after.
They were not caught in their houses, they were caught perpetrating violence, Doctor.
Listen, when we talk about peace, peace is a common action brought together to solve a situation or a problem. Peace is not just a word. We construct peace. Why were they on the street? Somebody sent them. For what? They disagree on something. If we are okay with that, we can continue. Now, he won. He's the president.
But President Paul Biya insisted that in his speech, he insisted that some of the actions of some politicians, he considered them as irresponsible actions.
Now he's the father of the country. So as a father, we expect him to forgive those youth and to be responsible. Since those ones are irresponsible, he must be responsible and cover his children and make sure at least they are teenagers. Some of them are so young in the prison. Let him set them free. And from there, those who are real politicians, they can face justice if there is something that they can approach to them. But I believe, and he said it, his hand is stretched forth to others. Let this hand be a fatherly hand for others.
That his hands are, of course, are open, and he wants to collaborate or work together with each and every Cameroonian to make sure that the nation becomes the reality that each and every person in the country is aspiring for. I'll come back to you, Doctor. Let me get your own opinion, Barrister Lekelefak and Michael. You are a barrister at law. It is very obvious that you watch President Paul Biya speak on the 31st of December 2025. And it is very obvious that you are a citizen, a responsible citizen. President Paul Biya made a series of statements concerning the growth of this nation. Of course, in one of his statements, he insists on providing a government in the days to come. Now, when you look at this, do you think youths are going to be involved in this? Do you think that we are going to witness another era of change with new faces to govern Cameroonians?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Enchi. I think asking about his government and whether youths are going to be part of the government, who are youths in Cameroon, and what before the speech, before he made the speech, what impact has he given to the youth? Considering even the speech, as my doctor was talking about, making an analysis of it, his speech himself is misleading. Was misleading to him as a leader. If you make a speech which is misleading to your own self, what should I?
When you talk of he was being
misleading,
what actually are you telling Cameroonians? Somebody sat down, wrote his speech, addressed the nation, telling Cameroonians that in the course of this year, this is what is going to be done, and you're telling the population, you're telling Cameroonians that you're telling President Paul Biya that his speech was a misleading one.
It's misleading.
How was it misleading?
Let me justify. As a head of state, if you are in Cameroon and you are attributing the difficulties that Cameroonians are going through as a result of external influence, I say it is misleading because you don't have the facts. Take for example, Cameroon organized presidential elections in 2025. Was it the United Nations? Was it a foreign panel organizing elections which ended up with violence as we are talking today, and some people on exile because of election? Which was the external influence which organized this election? Nobody. But Cameroonians organized under his administration. The elections were organized, and we have the consequence today, which has turned, instead of building peace, has instead tear or turn down the peace, the fragile peace which we have in Cameroon. If you go further, you take about the result of elections. That when he said le résultat éclatant, the confidence which was invested in
are you discrediting President Paul Biya for being a leader?
I'm not discrediting him, but I'm discrediting what is not right. That as a leader, if you have right information and you act on right information, you expect results. But if as a leader you give information which you yourself are not, I think you are not information which is misleading to your actions.
What I will still come back to this. I will still come back to this. I will insist on this, Barrister Lekele Frank Michael. You keep insisting on that President Paul Biya, his speech is misleading. Now, there are facts on the ground. He explained, or he talked about 50 billion francs that has been set aside. Of course, the 2026 budget, there was a 14% plus. And this money, of course, is out there to make sure that the youths and the women are being empowered. And, of course, a committee has been set aside so that this, of course, should be implemented fully. Now, you're telling us that the speech was misleading. Are you telling Cameroonians that they should not focus on that speech and maybe work hand in glove with the head of state in order to make his dream come true?
I'm not calling on Cameroonians. I've never even called for Cameroonians to support or not to support. I'm giving my appraisal of what took place in the speech. Cameroonians have to judge the way they have to liaise with the head of state. I am not proning any disobedience in any way, but I am giving it. I am calling on the attention of the speech maker himself to know that if he made a speech, then his speech to me was flawed with some errors.
What errors are you talking about?
When we talk about he appreciated the result.
Was it English? Was it French?
I'm talking about the facts.
Was it the vocabulary?
I'm talking about the facts which were given. When we talk about the results, when you talk about, I just made mention of that when he said the difficulties which Cameroon is going through, we are going through in Cameroon, is due to external influence. I justify by citing that elections were organized by Cameroonians, not by external influence. Yeah. Take about the result which made him the president of the republic. I think today, if he's comfortable to say that a majority of Cameroonians voted for him, as he said in his speech, de manière éclatante lors des derniers scrutins de 12 octobre. I think if you go by that, in 2018 the percentage was not 50 plus, but it was 70 and above. So if you look at from 2018 and 2025, that just 50% and above of population of the Cameroonians today made you president from the higher percentage you earned in 2017. How can you say a majority of the population when it is just I can talk about a marginal victory. Then if you talk about marginal victory and you're comfortable as a leader to say you have a majority of the population behind you, then you are misleading yourself in your actions. If
he is the president of the republic.
I'm not.
We are not talking. It is no more. We are not in the era of a presidential election.
I'm not refusing.
He was being voted, and Cameroonians, of course, are rallying behind him to make sure that Cameroon becomes great again. And you're saying that his speech doesn't make sense to you. That's what you're saying.
Rallying behind him is to work with the truth. And if you don't work with the truth, if you don't work with the truth and you begin to mislead yourself because you are a president of the republic and you think that the majority of Cameroonians have voted you, and we begin to live the consequences of people revolting against government action, you will be doubting whether these are the same people who voted you into office or not. Because when you talk about, what I'm trying to say here is that the government action, and during the swearing-in, the president of the republic acknowledge the frustration of majority of Cameroonians.
Yeah.
So if you are saying that
frustration is universal,
I say he acknowledged the frustration that Cameroonians are living in. That was during the swearing-in ceremony. And today, at just a barely few months, you are talking about you are comforting yourself in. I mean, his speech was some sort of. If you want, you let us. We are going through a period of a very challenging period in our history.
Yeah.
That every word, every fact we are bringing should work in line with the truth.
Thank you very much, Barrister Lekele-Fak, for your elaboration. And it is very obvious that you are responsible for whatever declaration that you just made on this set. I'll come to you, Achi Dieudonné. You are a communicator from with the SDF political party, opposition party in Cameroon. And it is no news that President Paul Biya, of course, insisted on this particular statement, telling Cameroonians that those who are perpetrating violence or inciting violence in Cameroon, they are described as irresponsible politicians. Now, do you think this declaration actually is a mode of telling them that you guys need to come join me, let's work together, rather than perpetrating violence or convincing others or brainwashing others, telling them or making them to understand that you have a better manifesto and you can change Cameroon within a blink of an eye?
Well, thank you very much. I want to take off from where my co-panelist ended. First of all, to say that if the President of the Republic, after 43 years in power and more than 90 years at least officially on earth, is still in office today, irrespective of whatever political appreciations we can make of it.
Power is grace.
I have had this, it's almost a custom with me to always remind the President of the Republic that he's a beneficiary of a special grace. And what is important now is not for him to be flexing muscles with whosoever. It's for him to take advantage of this grace and put Cameroon back on the rails. Because as much as you can call people irresponsible, you cannot deny allegations of electoral fraud. They are massive. You're coming up, you're hearing them from all over social media. And I've told you time without number, and I'll keep recording it. My spiritual father, the chairman, John Frundi.
It was a landslide
still vindicate, please.
Acknowledged by the institution in place.
Landslide victory.
That was a landslide victory and acknowledged by the institution that you yourself in collaboration with.
Landslide victory, 50+3. You are talking about a margin of 3%, sir. It's not a landslide victory. But whatever the case, I'm saying that President Paul Biya cannot totally wipe out the allegations of massive fraud. I've told you time without number that one big challenge we have in this country is to put in place institutions that are truly democratic.
Did President Paul Biya in his traditional address mention any stuff like electoral fraud?
He's not up to mention it. Do you want him to mention it when he's elected? You logically expect him to do so. I'm saying that to sit and just be calling other people irresponsible is not enough, because he also has to acknowledge, and he should know, I know he knows, that these allegations of electoral fraud are there. And I'm telling you that...
do you think that this particular statement was being addressed to your party?
No, let me talk. Let me talk, you understand me. And I'm telling you that us in the SDF since 1992 up to today, we still revindicate the stolen victory of the late chairman of the SDF, Nijon Frondi. We know he won, and somebody from the CPDM who played a central role in that election and who was a top-ranking member of that party, Abedongan, came out and said, I stole it and gave Paul Biya. And that is one person who has never been disturbed for saying that. Who is irresponsible? Why did they not catch him for saying that he stole what President Paul Biya had legitimately? Why is he still free today? Who is irresponsible? You know, these are display statements, but they are not surprising, because there is something, you say, practice makes perfect. When the Social Democratic Front stood up that they wanted a sovereign national conference, President Paul Biya declared in Parliament, dans la conférence, que la conférence nationale est sans objet, that the national conference was nonsense. So we understand that there is this rhetoric of some kind of arrogance that will be very difficult to disappear. And again, who was he talking to, looking at the post-electoral crisis? The person who is claiming a certain victory with respect to this presidential election, who is of the opposition. Who was he talking to? He was talking to somebody with whom they have been for decades, telling Cameroonians that everything is okay. They have always had victoire éclatante. They have always had victoire éclatante. And so President Paul Biya was also telling him that this time around, even though you are no longer with me, I will repeat the very rhetoric that you joined me to repeat against those that were struggling for positive change in this country. So he probably knew exactly who he wanted to that message to go through. It's maybe probably not for all Cameroonians, or it could be. So, but like I said, at this point in time, President Paul Biya should be a man of appeasement. At the age of 90, you don't flex Moses with your children. At his age, he cannot sit behind and be happy to see that his children are quarreling with him, fighting at their jail. And I want to join my senior man. I've been saying a time with a number. He has to release all these people who were held during this post-electoral crisis.
We are talking here about President Paul Biya's speech. He made a lot of points. He talked about infrastructural development. Now, Cameroonians, of course, there are certain Cameroonians in certain areas in the country that are facing a problem of potable drinking water. He actually reiterated this particular point, making them to understand that in the coming days, this issue will be a thing of the past. This, of course, is something that needs to be applauded by Cameroonians.
Dear brother, in the 90s, President Paul Biya said he would personally supervise the construction of the ring road. It took the Anglophone crisis, and so many people died, and they're still struggling with it now. Please let me talk. Please let me talk.
Right on.
In the 90s, when President Paul Biya was much younger, he personally said he would personally supervise the construction of the ring road. It took so many Cameroonians to die with the Anglophone crisis for them to be struggling with the ring road now. The regional councils were put in place since 1996 in the constitution. Instead of putting the region before they go to Senate, they invest the funnel, and they instead put the Senate before putting region. But it took people to die for them to create the regions. That is one of the reasons why President Paul Biya has to release people, political prisoners, in connection with the Anglophone crisis, because just the fact that he had to go and implement something that was in the constitution, because they came up, and even though people died, he has to release them, because he has acknowledged that people have gone to where they are because of his system that has so badly governed Cameroon, and he now acknowledges it, that Cameroonians don't only have problems, but they are frustrated.
There's no country without, please, there's no country without issue. And it is not only Cameroon that is suffering, or certain people do not have the access to potable drinking water. It is all over, even in the United States.
I was about getting there. The problem is, of course, there is no country without issues. But the issue is, when you are a country that is so richly endowed in terms of with natural and human resources, and you are moving at a pace slower than that of a snail, there is a question mark. And you find it very easy to always say it is because of external factors, external constraints. All the other countries in the world are facing external constraints. How have they survived external constraints? Why is it that they are growing at a faster pace than Cameroon? Countries that, in terms of natural resources, do not have what Cameroon have, are far ahead of Cameroon. So, it is, at this point in time, at the age of 90-something, President Paul Biya is not talking the development of Cameroon going forward. And I want to salute him for that, because he made some announcements. Let me just cut off with it. Let me just land with this. He made some announcements.
When you insist on he's not making any statement that will advance the nation, what are you talking about? He is talking of infrastructural development. There are programs that have been set aside for the country, for youths, for women, and so on and so forth. It has been implemented, and people are benefiting from this. And you're telling us that there's no evolution.
Those things like that, Cameroonians will only believe them, like my senior man said, when they see them. But this is what is much easier to do. And I'm appreciating him because some time ago, on the 6th of December 2020, I made a revelation by the grace of God that President Paul Biya came to power through dialogue, and when Cameroon was in peace, and should leave power, should leave Cameroon in peace through dialogue. I am happy. Please,
he was not forced into power.
No, did I say his dialogue force?
He was not forced into power.
His dialogue force, and
over the years he has been re-elected as president of the head of state.
I'm telling you how he came. Before you now started to elect him, and take note that Jongang said he lost the first multi-party elections of 1992. It is only thanks to some of them who stole and gave him. That is, since you want to focus on the election, I'm saying this. Please, I'm saying this. Please, I'm saying this. At this point in time, I'm congratulating him for coming back to the right path. First of all, he has acknowledged that the national dialogue that was organized in 2019 failed. And then secondly, he has acknowledged that dialogue is the way forward. That is why he came. I appreciate his approach. He decided to go communal. After all, he talked about communal liberalism. So it's not surprising that he now integrates dialogue into his own policy that he drafted, that we should discuss within our communities. There is no big problem, and I'm appreciating the fact that he has come back to dialogue, because, like I told you, I made a revelation on the 6th of December 2020. A lot of Cameroonians probably never knew about it. President Paul Biya came to power through dialogue, and he came when Cameroon was in peace, and should leave Cameroon in peace and through dialogue. And now when he is talking about community dialogue, it's a good thing. When he is talking about conciliating experience with youthfulness, with youthfulness and energy and all that, it's a good thing. Those are the things that, some of the things that when he does them, in addition to relaxing, releasing prisoners and all the like, when he does them, he will permit the young people to restore the dignity of Cameroon. It is not for him at his age.
Thank you very much.
It is not for him at his age. That is why I'm calling on the children of the Northwest, those that are armed groups. They don't need to like the chiefs, but they are our fathers. They don't need to have the same political opinion with the chiefs, but they are our fathers. Let them go back to the Northwest, because I want to speak with the chiefs from the palaces in the Northwest. Let them organize a community dialogue in the Northwest. Some of us will go out there and tell President Paul Biya that it is time to usher the federal state in Cameroon. And we will come up with a resolution and let Cameroon become a federal state. We want to have that dialogue from the Northwest. We want to tell the chiefs, we want to speak directly from the Northwest with our fathers and tell them that go down to Yaoundé and tell President Paul Biya we want a federal state.
Thank you very much, Chidilone, for your declarations, and I will continue to say that you bear responsibility for whatever declarations you make on this very set. I'll come to you, Dr. Moise Mbok. It is very obvious that this head of state insists on the fact that there were so many declarations, people saying that Cameroon, the state of Cameroon got back NAO due to debts that the state actually has been endured to. But President Paul Biya reiterated in his speech that he is somebody that believes in nationalization. He is a nationalist. And today we see NAO, he confirms it that this company now belongs to Cameroonians, and it demands a huge investment for the progress so that electricity can be affordable and available for Cameroonians. This, of course, is a great move.
I think it is a mistake that they repair. It was a mistake to allow NAO to take this service from Cameroon. You know, those are the services of sovereignty. Water, electricity, at least those two ones. I will not talk about security and so on. At least water and electricity must be held by Cameroonians themselves. So it was a mistake. So correcting a mistake, for me, is not something to be applauded.
So you're saying that the idea of privatization in the past was a mistake?
It was a huge mistake.
So Cameroon didn't benefit from this form of cooperation?
Let me build something. What we can appreciate in this speech is there's so many things the president is acknowledging that it was a mistake, and I will correct them. It was a mistake, and I will correct them. He said it several times in diverse topics. First of all, let's talk about youth. Do you think it's now that we should come with a speech and say, from henceforth we take note of youth and women, as if they are new people in the country? They are not new people.
Dr. Mbok, that statement wasn't addressed in such a way that it is now that the head of state wants to invest so much in youth. For the past years, he has been investing in youth and women. This is just a continuation, Dr.
What
Mbok.
I'm saying, and we have to appreciate it, is correcting a lot of things. We have to appreciate it by saying some things. You know, that's why I was saying that when you speak, you are not the only one listening. And others that are listening can interpret the way they want to interpret it, because each one stands on his position. And what you are saying can wound or just heal, you know. So Cameroonians are frustrated, as we are all saying here.
Are you frustrated?
Cameroonians have decided not to, because you cannot expect from human what God can do. That's my belief. This life is not Pope that gave it to me. It's not Cameroon that gave it to me. It's God. So I believe to live well, to have some opportunities, I must expect them from God. So if you Cameroonians are opening
those
doors,
opportunities, of course, are being provided in collaboration with the government of this country.
If you people are opening me doors, I will praise God. If you close those doors, I will still praise God, because He will open other doors.
So you're speaking now like a pastor.
What I'm saying, you know, all Cameroonians must speak like that.
Like a pastor or a religious leader?
No, like people.
That's a philosophy of life.
People of hope. People should not put everything on the president. That is a mistake we are running into in Africa. It's a huge mistake. So you have a problem with your wife, you're calling on the president. You have a problem with your kachi, you're calling on the president. You have a problem with your ministry, you're calling on the president. You have a problem with fake food, you're calling on the president. It's a mistake. We should learn to solve our problems by ourselves. That's why I'm saying that all this speech for me is a father talking to the people, that I will arrange many things: Anglophone crisis, youth employment, women, opportunities, energy, water, roads, construction, infrastructure. I will make sure to arrange them. This is how I understood this thing. That's why for me, by saying this,
he took it as an obligation to do that.
And my brother just said that when he was younger, he took an oath, but today he took another one. What is the difference?
When you
now?
look at the infrastructural development in Cameroon today, the past 7 years, and when you want to compare them with the present situation, they are not the same. This is an improvement.
That's not our problem. And this is why we have to talk together, to sit down and talk together. This government must understand, and I used to say it, President Paul Biya is not our enemy. Our enemies are this way they govern the people. The approach is bad. There are things that they must change. Our enemies are these sufferings people are going through: poverty, lack of work, lack of water, energy, services. Those are our enemies, and we need to sit down and talk with them to make sure we are seeing the same enemy. Because the problem is this: if they in the government, they see us politicians like enemies, it's a mistake. We are not their enemies. The enemy is the problems the country are facing. So if we don't understand ourselves by that,
it's just the fact that you are a Cameroonian, you are also a part of, you ought to contribute in the development of your country, and it's very obvious that you might be part of the problem, just the fact that you're existing in Cameroon.
You said it. It starts by talking. It starts by the speech. That's why all of us are saying that our president must be careful with the words he's using, because we cannot come off a problem and you are calling some irresponsible.
Were you affected?
It's not fair.
Were you affected by certain declarations, and what were those declarations?
Affected. You know, for me, I take this speech not like other Cameroonians. I'm taking it as a prophecy. You will say, as a pastor again. Okay, fine. I'm taking it as a prophecy. What he's saying, some of the things is not the one that will perform them. We're talking about development, about many things that will happen in the country. It's not him. For me, it's a prophecy that this is where we are going. And I want Cameroonians to go into peace. Peace is a construction. To have peace in Anglophone, in this Anglophone crisis is a construction. And for some people, they will not listen to Mr. Pobia. They will listen to another person. That's why I agree with my brother that funds must come back and talk with their people. Because some people don't want to listen to President Pobia or the Prime Minister. They want to listen to another person. And that other person can be you.
But he's a person that is in power, and it is very obvious that if you want to progress, you need to tarry or you need to queue behind your leader. It is very obvious. And your leader is there. He's not there to derail you.
What is leadership? That is a question.
I want to know.
Yeah. Leadership is the ability to bring people together to a solution. You lead them. At times, you step aside and somebody else lead like ministries. The president cannot be a minister in all the ministries, you know. But there are some people we don't want to see again in some ministries now. There are people you want to see in some ministries now because we believe they can bring change. So the leader must see the problem, look for the people that can bring the solution, and make sure by bringing means for the solution to come. So what we are saying, and for me it's very important, talking together is putting solutions on the table together. It's not just coming and take pictures, drink and say, okay, we spoke. No, it's to bring Anglophones, for instance, that how can we solve this problem? Not officials, people in the land, women, youth, young people that are living there. They know how to solve this problem.
They don't have their representatives. In 2019, we had a situation
like that. It did not work. Why do you want to keep the same approach? That's why we are talking about peace. If you want peace, we need to talk, my brother. We need to sit down and talk together. So today we are not talking about contesting the president. It's already there. We are not talking about following or not following him. He's a president. We are talking about bringing proper solutions to each problems he's putting on the table. And we believe that all Cameroonians have something to put on the table and bring the solution definitely.
That's why we have
phone crisis.
That's why
development.
Dr. Ambok Moise. That's why we have today in the country decentralization. You said the president cannot, of course, be available everywhere.
Yeah.
There are personalities that has been assigned or designated to man certain of responsibilities. We have governors, we have mayors, we have city mayors, and so on and so forth. They are there to man this position. But now, when you come back to this address, I want to get your own point of view concerning this. Is very serious because Cameroonians are going to spend 12 months to get another speech. You come to discover that a few months ago or a few weeks ago, during the presidential election, Cameroonians saw President Pobia for another time during his swearing in, and of course at the end of the year again, Cameroonians are still seeing him for another moment. It's a blessing to Cameroonians, and he repeated most of the speeches that, or the address that he made on the 31st of December 2025, collaborated with the speeches, his inaugural speech. Now, when he insisted on certain things like this, and today Cameroonians, people are taking it lightly. Don't you think that there is a problem somewhere and people do not want to collaborate, but they keep on complaining?
No. They want to see actions. They are not against collaborating with him. No. We want to see actions. We want to see things change because we believe we can have them in this country. So we should not mix things. He said the 6th of November, that okay, I've heard what you people are saying, I saw your tears, I saw your sufferings, I saw your difficulties, I will make sure to do something. What happened? 2 months later, people are still going through the same difficulties. Look at the roads, they're still the same. Look at this water problem, it's the same. Okay, fine. The 31st, he called us again and said, okay, I believe we can live in peace in this country. We can build things. We can use all the resources we have together. It's possible, yes. But in few days, I will change some head ministers in some ministries, because I know that one of the things people are asking is to change some people in few days.
Changing.
In few days.
Dr. Mbok Moyi.
Let's leave that one. Let's leave that one.
Dr. Mbok
For
Moyi.
me, let me close with this. In this speech, I have questions. Where are we going as Cameroonians? Where? This speech taking us where? In agriculture? Where? In
infrastructural
development? Where are we going?
But the
he should come back.
He insisted on the collaboration of each and every member so that his goal can be achieved. That's what he insisted on. Unity, transparency.
Unity does not mean the same.
I mean, it doesn't mean the same.
Let's not. And this is a mistake that I think the CPDM regime has failed to understand. Unity does not mean oneness.
Yeah.
It does not mean uniformity. Criticizing what is not right.
Yeah.
It does not mean going against.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean
they should pay attention.
It is calling the attention of, if you are not criticized, you cannot improve.
Yeah.
And this is where the regime fails a lot, because instead to listen to criticism as a plus to better build strength, it uses criticism as a way to instead drive, which is not right.
Dr. Barrister Lekelefak Michael, it is very obvious that there are countries within the CEMAC zone that are not benefiting from the peace and tranquility that Cameroon is benefiting today. And when you see the head of state with his age, that's of course a sign of intelligence, a sign of wisdom, and so on and so forth. He has been managing the country for over the years, but the calamities that are befalling other countries within the CEMAC zone, it is not the same as in Cameroon, and you can go about your activities without any problem. The development or the infrastructural development in Cameroon is not as compared to other countries within the CEMAC sub-region. That is a blessing, and President Paul Biya wants you to be part and parcel of this train.
Mr. Enchi, we are in Cameroon, and I think I will not even want to see Cameroon. If I want to make a comparison, I will not be making comparison of Cameroon with Central African countries or with any country in Africa or in the world, because Cameroon is unique in its own. Cameroon is the Africa in miniature, and if it is Africa in miniature, it means everything in Africa is found in Cameroon. Which other country in Africa has this blessing? So why don't you build from this perspective, but you want to build from negative perspectives, because you don't want to work. You've been insisting about issue of road infrastructure and all the like. I think when you want to go even with the speech of this year, it will not be a speech which gives hope to Cameroonians. As a leader, if you are talking about road development of road infrastructure, I would have been expecting to see, we want to construct this stretch of road from this part to this part, as he has been making announcements, so that Cameroonians can be assessing. We can be waiting to see whether the project is realistic. When you make a general statement which nobody knows at which particular area we want to target
that's what I was asking. Where are we going?
Barrister, how do you expect Cameroonians, how do you want me as a Cameroonian, a protected Cameroonian, to assess that speech?
Barrister, Cameroonians today, Cameroonians today, of course, very soon we'll be expecting the inauguration of the Douala on the highway very soon. Though it has consumed a lot of money, but it is due to the fact that they want something that is going to be durable. That's why, of course, a lot of money has been invested into this particular road. There are other infrastructures that are coming up today in the country, and Cameroonians gradually are gaining employment and becoming self-employed. This, of course, needs to be appreciated by the government in power.
I'm not criticizing, but I'm saying this is what I am saying. That you talk about road infrastructure, perhaps when you talk about the roads which you have, those announcements in previous speeches, you see that the president has even made mention in previous speeches, these are the stretches of road we want to target for this year, even if they have to take long as what you are saying. But we Cameroonians, we know these are the priorities for this year, and we have to divert our energy, we have to convert our energy to see them being realized. But when you just make a general statement that we have to continue in road infrastructure,
this is a serious problem.
Where are we targeting? How can you assess whether we are doing the right thing or your ministers are doing the right thing or the wrong thing? because you never gave the leeway for people to make that assessment. We are talking about youth. We are talking about youth, which is an important topic of debate, Mr.
We're coming to that.
Yes, yes.
I'm talking. It's a second topic, of course.
I'm still back with what is the president's speech. I think there is a politician here, a frontline politician here, who will tell you that they have been clamoring for the age of voting age in Cameroon
from 20 to 18.
From 18 to 20.
From 20 to 18.
From 20 to 18. Yeah. If you discover
from 18 to 20.
No, from 20 to 18.
Nice.
Step down. Step down. If you look at the last election, presidential election, which took place in Cameroon, and the people who were being incarcerated, arrested, and all the like, you see a vast majority of minors who were on the street. Which, as a leader, this is a call for attention to say that the cry of people, the people of the opposition.
You are a barrister at law, and Cameroon is a state of law.
I'm giving you an appraiser.
Cameroon will not allow, all the authorities will not sit down and see certain individuals perpetrating violence, destroying state properties, and go about certain activities because of the fact that they are disgruntled, and the government or the authorities that they allow them do that.
You are not getting my point.
And go scotch-free.
You are not getting my point here. I'm drawing the attention of the leaders that the voting age, which is believed to say at 20, with what the consequences of what we lived in the 2025 presidential election, is a call to say the youths are ready to take responsibility, which means we should step down the voting age. It may be from even 20 to 17.
Yeah,
not even the 18. That which is
if you keep insisting on stepping down the voting age, you come to discover that there are people who grow so very fast. You might see them very big in structure, but when it concerns intellectual insight, some of them needs help.
I'm not. Those are exceptional cases. Let's not build our society on exception.
Tell me that there are old people who are not also very good intellectually, sir.
And it's true.
So when you look at these are facts which will help an administration. We are not leading. When you talk about leadership, it is not an abstract something that you are working without. It is within a context that leadership operates. And you have to understand the realities of the context in order to adopt policies which will meet the expectation of the people.
Thank you very much, Barrister Lekelefa, for your intervention. I'll come to you, Chijidone. You are not too that comfortable with certain declarations, although you want to buy a certain point of view, but it's very obvious that the head of state, President Paul Biya, is there to make sure that you and I, Cameroonians who are watching us, both home and abroad, of course, both home and abroad, collaborate and make sure that the development that all of us are aspiring for come to pass. Now, I'll put this into you, Chijidone. You are from the opposition party, and I'll come back to this particular question. President Paul Biya insisted on the issue that there are certain people who come out with enticing speeches, speeches that are very juicy, and some Cameroonians believe these speeches are going to maybe develop the country within a period, let's say 2 days to come. But President Paul Biya called on Cameroonians not to give in such declarations, because they are just speeches just to win their attention. At the end of the day, nothing will come to pass. What do you see in this particular speech? As an opposition leader, do you think that the president, head of state, is not in line with certain declarations from opposition political parties in the country, and he believes that the vision that he has for this country is better off than those of coming from your area or your party?
I think that if there is any group of people that has been selling illusions more than any other, and which is verifiable, they are the group of the people from the CPDM, at the helm of which is President Paul Biya. You see, I demonstrated it to you. He said he will supervise the construction of the ring road in the 90s. Waited for war to construct the ring road. Please let me come. Let me come. You have the floor, but you can't. Let me come, sir. Let me come. You can't be going. When we started, when the SDF started the fight against corruption, and the late national chairman of the SDF, my spiritual father, may he so rest in peace, Chairman Nijon Fundi, he kept saying that President Paul Biya, you keep saying that corruption is due to external factors, is due to economic crisis around the world. There is embezzlement in this country and it's costing us a lot. President Paul Biya said, who's only proof? Who's only proof? At the end of the day, we brought the proofs and the Muchipo Gate affair came up. Unfortunately, he termed the fight against corruption to be a witch-hunting affair. That is why up to today, Section 66 of the Constitution, which demands people who handle public office, starting with him as President of the Republic, to declare their assets, is not yet applied. So when you look at some of his declarations that he is making with respect to the fight against corruption, you are tempted to believe that he is lying, because he is supposed to start by respecting the Constitution with respect to the fight against corruption before going to create his organizations that will send reports to him for him to decide who goes to court and who does not go to court. When you are talking about selling of illusions and accusing the opposition, I think that the best way to have judged the opposition would have been to let the opposition have its stolen victory. If the chairman John Funde had the possibility in 1992 and was governing this country, President Paul Biya, somebody from his team, why you will now be telling you that.
Why are you so focused on past glories, a glory that cannot be justified?
Do you know that the speech of the head of state that we are talking about now is in the past? He's made the speech on the 31st. We are on the 6th. It is in the past. And you build from the past. He said those people tell you stories. Those stories where he was talking about what they tell in the past. And I have to tell you that we have a good project for Cameroon. We would have executed this project in 1992, but we were unable to do it. And the chief thief, Jongan, spoke on TV, and up to today he's free. Do you know that the fact that Jongan is free is an instigation of terrorism? Do you know that the fact that Jongan is still free today is an instigation of me in the line of Chairman Nijon Funde to go violent in this country because of our stolen victory, and somebody is speaking arrogantly and allowing
guilty of the allegation
before you cut me. One of the things we'll be expecting for President Paul Biya is to arrest Jongan and ask him to prove what he said. And let the President of the Republic arrest Jongan, and let the CPDM publicly shame Jongan as a liar, and let Jongan not be able to prove what he said. It's going to be very important. They said they are selling illusions, sir. They should be honest to tell you that the target that they have today, which we are far from seeing the use of this target, was a project of the Social Democratic Front, sir. It was championed by the chairman Nijon Funde. They took the target. What have they done with the target? And they say we are selling illusion. What proof they copy from us. When they copy,
you have concerning relation to that declaration?
No, I'm telling you, you can go and make your research.
Is it
if they want to contest it, let them be contesting it. Let them be contesting it, please.
So you're making, is this an illusion that you're selling?
What illusion? That the project of the target was that of Chairman Nijon Funde in past elections before now? No, it's not an illusion, sir. They copied it from the Social Democratic Front. But unfortunately, since they lacked the goodwill to govern this country, they did not properly implement it. What are we seeing with the roads today? Babaju Bamenda Road. It took the chairman again to go and send the targets away from the Babaju Bamenda Road before they started constructing. Today is a big trophy to them. Who is lying to who? Look at the football infrastructure for the AFCON. They came here and they said, no, we'll do a wonderful job, we'll do a wonderful job. Misplaced priorities, build stadiums abroad, carry them and come and install in Cameroon at with astronomic prices, and the results are not there. Cameroon has even died because of it. They come and say people are selling illusions. I am saying it. If the CPDM was not selling illusions, and then the beautiful speeches that the president has made for the past 3 years would have made Cameroon so beautiful. It is as clear as that, sir. We are not the ones that have been governing this country. Today, they have 100% representation everywhere. The Anglophone crisis, they could have told you that, for example, that it's because of they don't have leaders, they don't have good political representation. Today, in the Northwest and Southwest, they have almost 100% representation. What are you seeing moving? Go and see how the place is.
Go to various cities in various cities in the Southwest and in the Northwest. Evolution is unfolding in that area. It is very obvious that those who are championing this are, of course, are there to testify that things are unfolding, despite the fact that there are certain hindrances, of course, are coming.
Before the Anglophone crisis came, they always told you that things were unfolding now. And when the crisis came, you saw the reforms that come now. When we wanted to come into multi-party democracy, they told us that we were not ready. and when we came, reforms came. That is how we'll keep pushing, and when reforms will come, they will now tell you that is the president of the republic, and then those of us of the opposition will now be those that are selling illusions, whereas we are the ones pushing the system to do the right thing. But we'll continue doing our job. And I want to end on this note to say that some years back, about 2 to 3 years back, the National Executive Committee of the Social Democratic Front called for the putting in place of a transition government. As a communicator of the party, I had echoed that message severally. But I had this inspiration to, far from talking about a transition government, talk about a mission government, a government on mission. Many people are interpreting the speech of the head of state now, talking development. I don't, when I'm listening to the president of the republic talking now, I'm not interested in the development phase. I'm not interested in the infrastructure. I'm not interested, because at his age, logically, he should not be talking that. At his age, logically, we prepare a transition.
He's a president.
We are looking.
He's looking now.
He's a president. He's a president.
And not to develop in such a way that Cameroonians who are coming up.
He's a president. He's a president, but nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever.
Yes, I'll come
at his age, you will not be expecting him, barrister, to talk development, how they're going to develop the country. At his age, what we of the SDF, I personally am asking President Paul Biya, is to make sure that he organizes a peaceful transition and gives especially the youths the possibility to restore the dignity of this country. It is, you know, every generation has its challenge. The generation of President Paul Biya is going. They are gone.
Thank you.
They are gone. They are just some places that are left. So we, the younger generation, have to take our responsibility and restore the dignity of Cameroon. Restore the unity in diversity, and not unity meaning uniformity. And make Cameroon that great country, that country in the sun. And the grace of God upon the life of President Paul Biya is that which is still giving him the privilege today to accompany that process. Let the youth take over Cameroon and restore its dignity.
Thank you very much, Achi.
Solution can be more than to say that.
Of course, let's get some of the reactions. There are so many of them. Let's get some of the reactions of our Cameroonians. They are writing all over the world. They are writing from Cameroon and across the borders. Let's get this one. Good evening, dear panelists. Thanks for such an edifying debate. I love your program, but what I want to tell Mr. Chi Diodone is that he should be very careful with certain declarations, because it is not going to help Cameroonians. All of us need to come together, work together, and respect the elderly. Of course, that's what he's saying. And he continues saying that President Paul Biya is an elderly person and he has a vision for this country. We should respect that and keep working in collaboration with him. Of course, that is Chi also, Chi from Betwa.
Which is my namesake.
Chi from Betwa writing us there. We continue with another one. This one is coming from Canada. Good evening, dear panelists. I love your program. This is one of those programs in Cameroon that I always watch every Tuesdays. I just want to inform Cameroonians that those of us who are in the diaspora, we will continue to work hand in gloves with the elected president, who is President Paul Biya, and nothing will stop us from doing that. No matter your declarations, we will continue to work with him to make sure that Cameroon remains stronger. That is somebody from Canada with no signature. We proceed with another one. The person is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, dear panelists. I love your program. I've been watching your program for some time now, and I love it so very much. I love the declarations that are being made on set. What I want to say, or my contribution here, is that please, you guys should focus on national unity. We do not want any we don't want any issue of destabilization. We want peace, because with peace, development follows. There's somebody writing for Bamenda, no signature. I don't know why you don't want to sign. We continue with this one is writing us from the United States of America. Please, we don't take calls. We take just messages. We don't take calls. Thank you very much. This one is writing us from Dallas, United States of America. Good evening, dear panelists. You have a very wonderful program at Info TV. Keep doing your marvelous job. I just want to believe that maybe in the next cabinet reshuffle, one of you or one amongst you will be nominated or appointed as a director or maybe a minister in Cameroon. That's somebody writing from the US, and he says he stems from Bamenda. He's originated from Bamenda, but no signature. Why, you know, guys, you should be signing your write-ups. Thank you. There are so many of them. Good evening, dear panelists. This is somebody, Marcel, writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, dear panelists. I love your program. Good evening to Dr. Moise Mbok. Good evening to Dr. Moise Mbok. Your declarations, of course, are wonderful. I wasn't expecting you to be speaking so very well in English because I always watch the program in French, and I do appreciate your outings. Kudos to you guys and Happy New Year. There are so many of them, of course, so we can't read them, but if you want to write to us, just make it very brief so that we can actually send out your own opinion and contribute to our nation building in the country. Now we are coming to the end of this first phase of the program. I'll come back to you, Chidudune, some of your panelists or some of the people who wrote on this, who sent us a message, were saying that we need to work on a national unity. We need to stay behind President Paul Biya, rally behind President Paul Biya to accompany his vision. This, of course, is something that you yourself need to buy.
Of course, I don't have any problem with that, sir. A sincere hand of collaboration extended should be received in the best interest of the Cameroonian people. And like I said, I insist it should be sincere. Our collaboration should be guided by the values of truth and love. No one should be telling a lie to whosoever. And to tell my namesake who wrote that he shouldn't think that I'm being disrespectful. I'm somebody, you know, one of the things that I always find in Cameroon, no matter what the comments you can make about public policy, is that I have this strong impression that somewhere, somehow, there is a deficiency of love. Because when you find there's so many shortcomings, there's so many difficulties we're having in Cameroon, you have like, these people who are governing Cameroon, do they really feel the pain of others? But I feel it. I know how it feels to be in the situation that people find themselves in. I am in the situation. So I will not express it like that. I think that even if President Paul Biya stands in front of me today as a good father, he will be listening to me to understand that this young man, he is feeling something and he's saying the truth. And I'm saying so very respectfully. I do not disrespect him, but I say it also firmly. Let him know that it is we're not out to play any demagogy, but to say the truth. And to end by saying that in everything I'm wishing President Paul Biya well, hoping at his age, and during his inaugural speech he pronounced God about twice. When he called on God for help, he called on God for help. I said that at his age, my grandfather is calling on God for help like this. This is a very serious matter. So yeah. I'm saying that God will help him. Let him just be truthful with his declarations. He also said that he is saying the truth now. He said his own truth. Thank you. But with respect to the building Cameroon, let him be truthful and let love lead all his actions, and let his actions span beyond political affiliations and focus on solution.
Thank you very much, Atidune. Our last word, we are coming to the end of this first phase of the program. The speech has been made already, and it is no news that Cameroonians are aspiring to see a development. What do you think Cameroonians ought to do in order to adhere to such declarations by the head of state in order to make Cameroon great again?
We need peace-building actions in Cameroon. There is no development today in Cameroon that we can achieve if there is no peace. Yeah. And the priority today, which transcends every sector of life, is we need peace, we need reconciliation. And so I think the President of the Republic, if he talks about peace-building initiative within the communities, I think today reconciliation is paramount, and that is the best legacy you can leave for Cameroonians.
Thank you very much, Barrister Lekelefaka Michael, Dr. Moise Mbok. We are coming to the end of the first phase of the program. Cameroonians are appreciating your outburst. People are maybe they are very happy to see you express yourself on this very set in both English and French, and today you are dishing out your own opinion in the Queen's language. Now we are coming to the end of the program, and President Paul Biya's speech was of course highly received by Cameroonians. What do you have to say as a last word to Cameroonians or to the authorities that be, so that this speech can be implemented fully and development can follow?
In everything he said, actions, actions, and actions. He presented things. Let him put actions on the thing he said. He wants peace. Let him put action. He wants development. Let him put. I mean, the only thing we want now is action. If he starts somewhere by doing something, I mean, I'm telling you, all the Cameroonians will just follow. For now, people are just like suspicious. People, some are afraid. Some are like, there's nothing new in this thing. So, in charge of him and his team to prove contrary. And by doing so, some of those that are abroad and here will join and then work together.
Thank you very much.
Actions.
Thank you very much. Of course, one of our televiewers from the diaspora had to comment on the fact that we need to come together, we need to work together, rally behind President Paul Biya, and that's the only way to make sure that development becomes eminent. Thank you very much for being there with us. I just want to remind our televiewers that we don't take calls, we take just SMSs or your messages. So send us your messages on the number on your screen, and of course we're going to read it. So we are diverting directly to the second phase of this program. But before we diagnose what we have for you or what we reserved for you, let's do have this transition, and we'll be back in a jiffy. Once we go directly or divert directly to what we have for you as a menu this evening, which of course is talking about youth in leadership in the country. Is it are youths ready actually, or are they still in the process to be ready in the country? This of course is something that is troubling the entire nation, as certain people, category of people, believe that they do have the manpower to man position of responsibility throughout the national territory or on posts that of course are of great importance in the country, but at one point in time, or due to unforeseen circumstances or issues or situations that are beyond control, they do find themselves somewhere else. Of course, our panelists will going to trash this issue to maybe give details concerning this particular topic, as of course Cameroonians are expecting a cabinet reshuffle in the coming days. I'll commence with you, Dr. Moise Mbok. You are somebody who is, of course, well vested with issues concerning the political atmosphere in Cameroon. Now you are among those youth leaders in the country, and you are man position of authority in Cameroon today. When you speak, people listen. Now, do you think that the youths in Cameroon do have that potential to man position of responsibilities? Can a youth, of course, somebody below or within the age of 25, between 30 and 25, man a position of a minister in the country, director general in the ministry or in the company? Do you think these youths are capable of doing this, or Cameroonians, the youths, are still in the process of learning?
The youth part of population are youths. That's the first thing. They are not only youth, they are well educated. They are well trained. So all over the world, when we talk about technicians, specialists, doctors, and so on, they are Cameroonians. So we have the manpower, we have everything it takes.
So are you expecting President Paul Biya to for his new cabinet that is Cameroonians are expecting in the coming days, youths should occupy 80% of the population of the situation, or on those who are supposed to be appointed, or maybe even out of the government? Private sectors also should gain confidence in youth and provide opportunities that will make the country great.
For the private sector, they have interest to do so, because for the private sector, you have to produce and sell. So, and youth are qualified for that. If you want to make money, you take people that can work. So for the private sector, it's
so
not
the government to use reserved for older people.
For the government, the president never said that 80%. Never. He says that we should mix them together, youth and old. But for me, we have to trace it well in such a way that we understand ourselves. Old people, they are like strategists. They have to sit down and draw a map. And with that map, is talking about Cameroon, produced for Cameroon and Africa, Then they finance the youth to go and take over those that can work, you know, farming and so on, those that can produce in industries and different things. They must come together, strategize together, and then launch the war against poverty together. So it's not about youth or old people, it's about a map they must draw together. So if there is an old man that is wise enough, is welcome. If there's a young man that is bright enough, welcome. We have to know how to put them together. And for me, President Paul Biya have this know-how, have the expertise to look at the people and put them together for the good of Cameroonians. So it's not about youth or old people. It's about bringing a strategy
You're talking about
that will make
competence.
Cameroon better.
Thank
and
you.
Youth people in Cameroon, I'm telling you, they are very competent.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moise Mbok. I'll put this into you, Chi Dieudonné. You are a youth in Cameroon, and it is no news that President Paul Biya is aspiring in the coming days for a cabinet reshuffle. And we see Cameroonians along the streets of Yaoundé, in Garua, in Kumba, in Boya, in Bamenda, in short, all over the national territory, wants to participate, wants to be among those people who will be selected to run the government of Cameroon today, and also aside the government, other posts of responsibility in the country. Now, let's focus on this issue of cabinet reshuffle. Do you think that in the days ahead, the youths will be valorized, the youth will be given the opportunity to take position of responsibility in the days to come? Or do you think that these people, you yourself, you are not capable enough, efficient enough, intelligent enough to man position of responsibility in the country? Are you still in a learning process?
You know, the answer is blowing in the wind. The person, President Paul Biya, who is talking about conciliating the young people and the old people, himself occupied very important state functions when he was less than 30.
Yeah.
And that is the case of almost 90% of the people that were with him. I quite remember I had a conversation with the late Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic, Professor Aboem Choi, may his soul rest in peace, when he told me that at 24 he was already an administrator.
Yeah.
So, of what experience are you talking about? Today in Cameroon we have more educated young people than we had them when President in 1982. The issue is not about competence. I think that what President Paul Biya will be focusing on, of course, he mentioned that he will not just be looking for people because they are young for youthfulness sake. And I agree with him that people should not be taken just for youthfulness sake, because there are some youths that have even sold the tombs of their fathers in the village when their fathers are no more.
Yeah.
So
you're talking of irresponsible behavior.
As much as older people are very irresponsible, there are also irresponsible young people, sir. So the President of the Republic will have to do his casting. On the issue of competence, it is very easy to establish competence based on academic credential and all that. He will have to do his casting on moral probity, the moral rectitude of these people. He will have to do his casting on the determination of the young people to serve. You will have to verify the track record. What are they doing? How determined are they? What perspectives do they have with respect to Cameroon going ahead? And how have they demonstrated that? He will have to focus on that, and I think that when he focuses on that, he's going to have something. And I think that the fact that he mentioned for the first time in his speech that a cabinet reshuffle should be awaited, it has not been done in the past. He is probably announcing that he's going to come out of the partisan logic. He's really going to come out from the partisan logic and have his time alongside the few who are very faithful to him to look and see those that can bring solution.
Please,
let me conclude by saying this before you cut me.
You have some few
President Paul Biya is in the same situation in which Pharaoh found himself when he was faced with a very difficult situation, and he needed a Joseph to interpret. It was not about the age of Joseph. It was about what was in Joseph. It was about what God put in Joseph to be able to show him the light. Because at one point in time, even though he's a leader just like Pharaoh, he may not be able to see the way forward. And God can be speaking to a young man.
Position of responsibilities have been awarded to certain youths, young people. But at the end of the day, the results are not that welcoming.
Example.
You know, that is what I told. First of all, that's what I told you, that first of all, it's an issue of moral rectitude, and then again, the problem is systemic. Giving power to some young people is a step towards a solution, but the problem is systemic. It's about the way a system functions. When a system does not function properly, it's most likely that a majority of the people go the systemic way. But I still believe that if they do a good casting job, there will be some good seats that will sprout and take responsibility and put back Cameroon on the rails, irrespective of what the games others may want to play.
Thank you very much, Tj Doni. Come to you, Barrister Lekele Fak. You keep asking a lot of questions, despite the fact that your turn has not yet arrived. But now I come back to you directly. It is very obvious that today you are a young person in the country. I just want to believe that you are still a young person. And it is very obvious that based on your declarations, you have leadership skills. Now, do you think when you go to various state universities today, hundreds of Cameroonians are graduating from state universities, private universities, and even abroad, and when these people come back into the country, some of them are aspiring to man position of responsibility, and some of the questions that they used to litter around is that when they go there, they do ask them 5 years of experience, they do have them certain connections and so on and so forth. Now, do you think that with this era, as we are speaking, we are in an era where people believe they are competent, they are able to man situations? We see in other countries how people are taking power, who are youth, are there and managing situations, and of course people keep saying that they are evolving, while other people are saying that they are perpetrating violence. Now, in the context of Cameroon, when you look at the youth in this country, are they responsible enough to man position of responsibility? Should they be given the opportunity to showcase what they have as talent?
Of course.
How?
The youths in Cameroon are competent enough to occupy whatever position, be it even at the helm of the republic, the state, at the helm of the republic, as a set of state. Why? When you look at a country which is the youth constitute,
the majority, Barrister, before you continue, majority of us, these people, are job seekers. They are there to gain opportunities from behind others who have worked so hard. Now, when you look at
what was President Paul Biya in 1982?
When you look at he was working, of course, with the government of Cameroon while stemming from France. I'll come back to you, Tj Doni. Now, when you look at the situation here, actually in the country, people are saying that they do have the ambition, they do have the willpower to work. But when you give them opportunity to do so, the results are not enticing.
I don't want to think about any youth who has been given that opportunity and has abused it, except within the ranks of the government, because the first thing you have to understand is that President Paul Biya for 43 years has worked, I can say, with a close government, that as we are talking today, instead of the public service becoming for meritocracy, it is almost becoming for family business, where if I'm a minister here, I think
have you ever identified any case of family issues when it concerns to is there appointment in Cameroon? Have you ever identified any case, Barrister Lekele Fak?
We have seen children succeeding their parents in certain position in this country. So if I'm saying so, we've seen senators who live and their children are being appointed in their state.
Do you have any case study?
Mr. Enchi. Why should you be? I think you're a journalist. You go for investigation and you prove me wrong. I'm not here to mention the name of people, but I'm here to give you information which is verifiable. So when you see the administration today, when you go the entry to into public institution, which is geared based on how you can corrupt, you see that meritocracy has been given. Meritocracy is having virtually no place in our public service, but it is not the same with the people who are
in power. They are executing their job.
The people who are in power are executing their job because they feel that they can never leave the public service. They can never leave the state. Without them, the state cannot go, which is wrong, which is an illusion. Because before them, people have occupied.
Have you ever aspired for a position of responsibility and you've been denied of?
That is not. If that is a personal question which it should not be answered here on a platform here, Mr. Enchi. But I'm telling you that when you see people who got into power, the people who are managing our affairs today, they did not get into power as old people. If they have become old today, it is because of the experience they have acquired in the course of the years. And so if they don't have to extend the same hand of transition which was being given to them, which was conferred on them, the confidence which was bestowed on them through meritocracy that they have abused today to become nepotism and corruption and all the like, then we cannot resolve the problem of youth empowerment in an administration. And I want to tell you, go to the private sector, go to the banking sector and other sectors. You see that the people are there, they are youth. They are youth. They are not old people. Why can you say that in a country, when you look at the private sector, which is not booming as it's supposed to be, that is being managed by the youth? The same youth cannot find themselves excelling in the public sector. I think the answer is...
Thank you very much, Barrister Lekele-Fak. I'll come to you, Dr. Mbog Moise. Today we have Ministry of Women Empowerment and the Family. We're talking about women empowerment. We have young girls, we have women, and so on and so forth. These, of course, are categories stemming from the youth. And we have other ministries that do take care of issues concerning the youths today. We have training programs today throughout the national territory that brings together youths to work in collaboration with authorities so that they can have ideas that can, at the end of the day, maybe permit them to man position of responsibility. We have state institutions today that do train administrators, youths, of course, who are coming out. Some of them are mayors, DO, and so on and so forth. Now, I put this into you, Doctor. Today in the country, do you think these people who stems from these professional institutions, who now at times do hold secondary positions in various administration, do you think this is the right time, 2026, as the president says in the coming days there will be a cabinet reshuffle? Do you think that 80% of President Paul Biya's government should be centered around the youth?
For me, I will still say what I think is useful for all Cameroonians is a vision. Once we have a vision, we use properly all the resources we have, youth, women, men, and so on. The problem we have in Cameroon is that we are training people just for Cameroon. We are building people just for Cameroon. But
there are Cameroonians outside who are willing to come maybe man position of responsibilities.
Yeah.
Do they have any obstruction?
No, this is how other countries are working. We are talking about industries in Cameroon. We have to work with diaspora. They are working already there. They have all the informations. They have all the know-how, the expertise. We need them to improve private sector. We need them. So diaspora have already its place in Cameroon. We have to see our function as Cameroonians not only to handle the country. We are leaders. As Barrister was saying, Cameroon is Africa in miniature. It means that we have everything it takes to influence Africa. And we have to bring all these young people trained in that vision. So for me, it's not only the government. Those youth must not only focus on government. There are other sectors in the country. They have to get ready to be involved and challenge the world. But the government and the head of state must make sure we have a vision
Thank you.
And are going somewhere.
Thank you very
Let
much.
me end up with this. It's my first debate fully in English.
Yeah.
And it was a challenge for me. And I really thank you and appreciate, because my panelists, my co-panelists just helped me to, you know, to flow in the thing. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moise Mbok. It is very obvious that you're going to be Cameroon. Of course, it's bilingual. When we talk about bilingualism, we talk about practical bilingualism in the country. And just an example of that, that's you're telling Cameroonians that President Pobi has been working tirelessly to make sure that bilingualism be promoted in Cameroon. Your last word,
agree with it.
Your last word, Chi Diodone. We are coming to the end of the program. We are already out of time. Last word to our Cameroonians. Of course, what do you think the government should do in order to make sure that youths take their responsibility and take the role of course, a post of responsibility throughout the national territory?
Well,
not leaving out the upcoming cabinet reshuffle.
Like I said, the President of the Republic and those that are faithful to him should do their job. Look for these young people out of party lines.
If a ministerial position is being proposed to you, will you accept it?
Well, when that situation, if such a situation shows up,
he's qualified, he can do the work. Let us answer for him.
If such a situation comes up, I will provide an answer. Having said that, I want to use this opportunity very rapidly.
Seconds, please. We are already out of time.
Yes,
please.
Very rapidly, please, because one of the ways that youths need to also take over is through elections. Very rapidly to call on the Director General of Elections Cameroon to take urgent measures to address the disenfranchisement of voters in the northwest and southwest regions.
Thank you.
Because the polling centers that are being created, that have been created there in the past elections, have made it in such a way that it is almost impossible for people to trek on foot for several kilometers in order to go and vote.
Thank you very much.
Let measures be taken to bring these polling centers close to the people in the spirit of Section 96 of the Electoral Code, so that in these local elections that are coming, the young people in the northwest and southwest who also want to be elected will effectively be elected by the people, and let them contribute in the community dialogue that will bring sustainable solution to the ongoing Anglophone crisis and other Cameroonian problems.
Thank you very much, Chijidone. Thank you very much, Barrister Lekelefak, Michael. Your last word, just a few seconds.
The last word is, let meritocracy be given the way in Cameroon. Once meritocracy becomes a role, I think Cameroon will be the Eldorado that we dream to build.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear televiewers, wherever you are watching us from in Cameroon or out of the borders of Cameroon. We've come